It is now the end of the year and time for our 2021 year in review. Now, we have done a lot this year. There's a lot more to come in 2022, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and click that little bell to turn on notifications so you don't miss any of it. But we're going to start off by just talking through this year, what's come out, what we've managed to get to have a play with, because there's been some pretty exciting stuff. Yeah. Now, right back at the start of the year, didn't start off great, did it?
No, it was locked down.
Again.
Which is never fun, but we made the most of it. We did Wex at home.
We did
For a while,
yeah,
did some
cool.
challenges,
Yeah.
took it in turns each week to do something different, and of course you guys were involved to a capacity as well, using the hashtag Wex at home.
Yeah, it was fun.
Quite fun. Yeah, it got us to try like bits of kit in different ways, I suppose.
And try new concepts that personally, I'd never tried some things that I was trying in Wex at home, and I thought that was really cool. To be honest, probably was quite needed, being in a boring lockdown where a lot of your creativity is kind of starved and taken away from you. It was quite nice to have these challenges and be like, oh right, I'm gonna have to make this weird video this week. Trying something I've never tried before.
Yeah, absolutely. It was nice.
Let's
to
see how this
something
goes.
to focus on that was a bit not what you would normally do,
Exactly.
which is good. As creatives, it's sometimes nice to have a bit of a challenge to sink your teeth into, I think.
And then soon after, the slew of new lenses came in.
Yes.
Starting with.
Well, I've actually got a list. I've done a little book with a list because we've done so much this year.
Yeah,
so
mental.
we had right at the start of the year we had the Sigma 85mm art.
Yep.
We had the new Sony 35 GM, which really liked. There was some nice primes that came out at the start, which I was pleased with because in the year in review last year, we talked about the fact that we were really hoping this year, because we'd had so many camera releases, that we'd see lenses come through from everyone. And boy, did we get lots of lenses
They must
throughout
have
the
heard
year.
us.
Yeah, they definitely did.
Yeah.
And then we had the A1 from Sony. So big first camera release of the year. It was a big one, and the spec was great. It was, high-end flagship camera from them.
We knew it was going to be a flagship camera. We knew it'd be a really big deal, this A1. But I think you guys would probably agree. I certainly did not expect it to have the specs it would have. I knew it would be an incredible camera. I didn't think it was going to have any of the specs that it had to the extent that it had. It was incredibly impressive.
Yeah, exciting release. Unfortunately, not an exciting time to actually test the camera because things were still pretty locked down. I was in Brighton, so luckily I had the Starling murmuration that I could go film. But I mean, it was just dark. It was just horrible. So definitely I would like to get that one back again and do more with it so that we could actually use it, with actual sunlight.
Yeah.
And then for you guys, we had another Sony come out, which we all liked, didn't we? The FX3.
Yeah,
really, really cool camera.
Was a good one. Basically taking from the Sony A7 III, but fitting it more in a cine style body. It's to go in line with the other FX cameras. So you've got the FX6, the FX9.
Actually, in stark difference to the Sony A1, I actually got to test out the FX3 quite a lot, and I thought it was an incredible camera. I thought it was awesome. The autofocus is outstanding, and I've never really been in that situation before where I could fully trust a camera's autofocus to do the job for me. And it makes such a difference. You can really just focus on the things you want to be focusing on.
So we did have some cameras come out actually at the start of the year. Thinking about it, like going back through it now,
because we didn't think they were going to be.
It felt very lens heavy, but actually we did have some.
Because I remember us sort of saying last year, like we didn't think there would be many cameras released this year because of how many were released last year. We couldn't really picture what was going to come out. And I mean, we'll get to it in a minute, but we were incredibly wrong about that. To be honest.
we had a lot of stuff this year though, because it wasn't just lenses, it wasn't just cameras. Wex sort of is definitely more of a brand of a shop that's trying to offer everything now. So we also got our hands on a lot more like different kit. So I had the Wacom MobileStudio Pro, which I loved that thing. Probably not for what I was meant to be using it for. Obviously, in Wex, we're talking about photo editing, animation, and things like that. Whereas I just loved it for drawing. Like I thought it was great for drawing. I loved it.
And it's all self-contained. It's basically a laptop in a tablet.
I also had the IE 100 Pro headphones, which I also loved reviewing, but they were, a couple of £100 in comparison. You had the YoloBox.
Yeah, YoloBox is good for streaming. Basically, like a little, iPad style thing, touchscreen display, but you've got HDMI ports, so you can link up different feeds, whether it be from like a monitor or from different cameras, and then you can vision mix on the fly.
I mean, you were doing loads with streaming around that time because we just had so many people that started streaming.
And it was the best way to communicate with people. Like if you wanted to do any online masterclasses. We had a lot of those come out this year. But also like for any of our suppliers that were announcing new lenses, new kit, new anything, they always had like almost like a stream or a premiere of some kind for their new product.
Well, people love it now.
Yeah, people are trained in it now. So
yeah, I think that's what I was going to say is before, when people streamed, you would generally be a streaming professional. It was kind of like a niche. The average video person wouldn't really have much knowledge of streaming, but now I think that has completely transformed. They've made it a lot more accessible. They've made it, they've made it just a lot better all around. Like I actually, shortly after you had your YoloBox, I had the Mevo Start, which it's a tiny little camera, really small, and it's basically designed to be an all-in-one streaming camera. So it's really, really simple to use. All you need to use is the camera and an app, pretty much. It kind of caters to a less professional audience, should we say, or somebody who doesn't want to get bogged down with all the tech. This camera was used a lot for like streaming like nativity plays and like children's plays. Like teachers are using these cameras, or like people were like streaming like church services and stuff. And that's really cool that they've made it so accessible and that they're actually bringing out all of these products that are sort of tiered to your level of profession, because really before I kind of felt like it was really only up here. It was really only
a niche.
It was a niche, and it's no longer, and that's really exciting.
It's nice to see that there are products like supporting those different levels of getting into streaming now. And speaking of something that just works, you had the wireless Go-2s.
Oh yeah.
Your favourite.
I mean, they're working
so
now.
Cool.
Yes.
They're so cool. So yeah, I had the wireless Go-2s. Really, really lucky to have these, to be honest, because like we actually are all using them. We've all used this mic kit now because I basically had them and I was like, guys, these are so good.
Yeah.
You should get yourself some too, because they're incredibly cheap. They're really reasonably priced when a lot of other mic kits are actually quite expensive. They offer you 2 transmitters to 1 receiver. So there's 3 of us, but we're only using actually 2 mic packs, which is really, really cool. And we could have a fourth person. And they just work. That's why I like them. They just work. They're aux in, so you don't have to mess around with any of this XLR stuff. You just plug them straight in, turn them on. Every single time I turn them on, they just work like that.
But also, it's the versatility, right? Like when we went to TPS, so we've got these little packs in our pocket here, and you can plug in, your lavalier, which we're wearing now. But these have a little built-in mic, which isn't great, but it's fine. And when we were at TPS, it meant when we were interviewing people after they'd spoken on stage, well, you could use it as a handheld mic. You could go, oh, can we just clip this on you? Rather than being like, oh, can we mic you up and get this all sorted?
And literally, if you wanted to just do it quickly on the go, you could literally do it like that and it's already working.
Yeah.
So
it's great, isn't it? Then we had some more lenses, even more lenses again. So we had new Sony 50mm 1.2 G Master, which was great. I remember using it. Yeah. I know, so nice. And then they also brought out some little compact, like almost like pancake lenses. So we had a 24, a 40 and a 50. So a really easy little kit to just have in the bag, basically.
And a nice inclusion to add a 40mm, because you actually don't get that many 40mm lenses out there. And it's a really nice focal length. It's like really commonly used actually in like professional feature films, but you don't find many sort of like average lenses come out that are 40mm. So it's really nice to sort of have that slightly different focal length.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had those, and then we had some new RF lenses as well. So we had the 100mm macro, the 400mm and the 600mm. Now we haven't actually been able to review those properly yet because we've been focused on customer orders. Obviously everyone knows what happened with like Suez Canal, COVID. Things haven't moved very quickly around the world in the last year. Regardless of cameras, bikes. Cars, laptops.
It took me 6 months to get a graphics card this year. That tells you how bad it is.
It's been crazy. But yeah, the macro lens, I'm really excited to do some stuff with in the new year. I've got some plans with
100mm macro is a solid choice.
Super cool.
It's always been one of my favourites.
It's always been a very good focal length for macro.
We also had some stuff from Fujifilm as well. So they brought out an 18mm f1.4 for their XF. And a little bit later on, if I jump ahead, we saw the GF 80mm f1.7 as well, which I loved using. I stuck that on the 100S. And that was a really, really fun shoot. There was actual sun. I don't know if you remember. It's this yellow thing in the sky. So nice using f1.7, 80mm on a medium format.
Yeah.
So we started stocking some new things as well this year. So things didn't come out. So Laowa, obviously they've been, their probe lens and things, that's been out for a while, but it was the first chance for us.
I think that's a lens we've spoken about. So way before we ever got to test
yeah.
it because Wex didn't previously stock it, we were always talking about that lens.
We were trying to figure out, like, how can we get this, even though we don't sell it?
So happy to give that a go.
It's such an interesting design because it's that needle mosquito nose kind of lens style, but it's got a waterproof tip, so you can poke it through water. It's macro, and you can just get some interesting shots, like threading through like objects.
We got some beautiful shots of George's leg hair. That was the one I was really impressed with.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, that's the thing about this lens.
You look horrified.
No, it was awesome. I thought it was so cool because it was like, it's a lens just like, it's so much fun you can have with it.
Yeah.
Because you literally point at anything. I could point it at this table and I would be fascinated by what I could see.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely. And I remember just being sat in my garden, like filming ants and like weird, just whatever weird things I could film. And then I was like, wearing shorts, like, well, I'll just stick it through my leg hair and do this weird tracking shot. It looks horrible, but it's so cool.
Yeah,
like,
it's so interesting.
Like, you know, there's actually really not many other ways to even view that kind of thing.
We also used some of their other lenses at that time as well. So I had a 100mm macro, which we've just spoken about 100mm, but it was insanely sharp. It was really good. And we got some other weird things around that time. So we got exclusive access to the Sony Pro phone as well, the Xperia Pro, when that came out. So this was the phone that could also be used as a monitor with Sony cameras, which was pretty cool. It was pretty niche, but it was quite cool. And actually, just recently, they've had their Xperia Pro 3 announced, and their Pro 1 as well, which has got the 1-inch sensor. Because for years we've been saying, haven't we, like, oh yeah, great, your phone's got 100 megapixels. It doesn't matter because the sensor's so tiny, it's just going to look awful. Whereas now, we've got these phones that have just come out. So I actually, just before we left for the shoot, I just got that delivered. So I'm going to be trying that out. I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm really excited to try that out and show off what that can do. Yeah. And then we also had an Epson EcoTank printer as well, which I had a play with. Yeah. And that was actually really fun because I had printers last year. I had the Epson P700. I had a Canon one as well, and they were amazing, don't get me wrong. Image quality was fantastic, but the whole time I was just watching the ink level like dramatically drop. So having the EcoTanks where I just had a bottle of ink and I was just like, fill that bad boy up. That was actually a really nice feeling to be like, right, I can just print and print and print and print and we're gonna be fine. So I actually really enjoyed reviewing that without having to panic the whole time that I was gonna immediately run out of ink. That was actually a really nice one.
Panasonic are pretty active as well this year with their, latest iteration of the GH5, bringing out the GH5 II, which was really good. A lot of improvements there that I think a lot of people who are already familiar with the GH5 would be happy to hear about. So you got more stabilization, which was already brilliant. You've got more dynamic range because of anti-reflective coating that's on that sensor. Just adds you that little bit more dynamic range. That was an amazing camera.
It was fun to use. Yeah, it was really fun to use.
We went to a cocktail bar and filmed some cocktails.
Yeah, we went to
that one.
It was really nice to use. It was just fun. Yeah, it was. The GH5 is a camera that I think both of us actually really liked. The original one was a camera that we both really liked, both really got on with. So it's kind of nice just to have it because the GH5 is old. It's been out a long time.
Yeah,
it was a workhorse camera, I would say, for videographers.
Exactly. Definitely. So it's nice that they've kind of updated it. They've given us a couple of extra specs, which actually were perfect. And actually, maybe if you were looking at the original GH5, you could say it was lacking a tiny, tiny bit in these areas. And then they obviously just went, right, this is what it's lacking in. We're going to fix that for you.
So along with the GH5 II, we had lenses as well. So we had the 50mm 1.8 that we did something with,
that
which
was cool.
quite nice.
That was nice.
Yeah, that was a nice lens.
Fun day, actually.
And then we had the 25-50, which actually I really like that lens. It's a really fun lens to use.
Yeah, great lens
Pictures
for
of
your
jam.
micro four thirds and everything. Yeah, no, gorgeous scones.
Yeah.
With cream and jam,
Yeah, mainly the jam.
Yeah.
It's the jam.
But
that
to film the whole process of that, it was delectable.
And had to eat it.
Then
that'd be a waste.
had to eat it. Otherwise, the flies would have got to it.
Yeah, like that fly that's in here.
Doing a service to all scones. Or scones.
Scones.
I don't know which.
Scones.
No,
how do you say stone?
It's definitely scone.
How do you say stone?
No, it's definitely scone.
Scone.
So there's definitely other.
I really shouldn't have said anything. Right,
gone.
Okay, let's move
about
on.
Gone. You
so
don't.
yes,
You
the
don't
LUMIX
going away.
I think you'll find I always say that. That's a really good example. That's really good.
But yeah, plenty of LUMIX S lenses this year. Basically the full set now. All relatively the same size prime lenses.
Yeah, now we've got kind of a good range of MFT and full frame.
Yeah, which is nice.
I think we've got a good selection now, for creatives, for video users, hybrid mainly, I
stills,
suppose.
whatever.
Yeah.
There's a good range of lenses.
Absolutely.
In fact, I mean, we're shooting on Panasonic at the moment, so this main wide shot we've got on the BS1H.
That's right.
We've got a GH5 over here, and we've got an S1R, just because I happen to have one, and we thought we'd keep it consistent. So it does mean that there is a good range for once for us to be able to use with their full frame stuff now, which is great. It wasn't just Laowa that was new for us this year. We also started stocking Leica, so it meant we got to play with some Leicas, which was great.
Leica them a lot.
Oh wow. We didn't plan that. I would have made sure he didn't say it. But so we got to try out a few different things from Leica. So we had the SL2, we had the Q2s, we had the M10s. And because of that, you guys won't have actually seen much from it, but we did actually shoot a lot. And the reason for that is we're putting together some blogs, because in the videos, we think with Leica, it's one of those types of cameras where you sort of use them over a period of time, rather than just, we didn't think, you know, going out for one day and just shooting one thing was really what you needed to see from Leica. So we've got some bits and bobs, but it wasn't just the cameras, you know, we also had the binoculars that they gave us, which is really hard to review binoculars for you guys. Because, you know, you just have to trust that I'm telling you the truth, which I always am, but these binoculars in particular were probably my favourites I've ever tested.
Yeah, you tried them at the old Peak District. You liked using them there.
Yes, we went to the Peak
Took them
District.
with you for a completely different review.
It was. Yeah, I took the Leica binoculars with us, but on that review, when we went to the Peak District, Shawn and myself were reviewing the new Fujifilm GFX 50S Mark II, which was a really fun shoot.
Medium format.
Yes.
Lovely.
Very
Bigger
nice.
sensor.
Very nice. Really nice shots. It did rain a lot.
We made it though. We made it through. We made it.
Yeah, we didn't drown, made it through. But there's actually another part of that shoot to come. I've actually wanted to tell you guys this for a while. So we've not been able to do it yet because of COVID and a couple of other challenges that we faced. But we're actually booked to go to a print shop in London and print out a load of these images from the GFX 50S II so that you can see the level of resolution that we're talking about. Because it's all well and good zooming in on a video, but it doesn't really give you the impression of exactly what you can do. So we're going to go there, we're going to print some of these images. So keep an eye out because that video will be coming to you. And we're also going to try and get some of the prints in our shops as well. So you're capable of just seeing exactly how detailed those shots are, because it did produce a stunning image.
Well, I would love to see how massive they are.
Yeah, and then you had, we went back to some more accessory things.
Yeah.
So you had the Aputure bulbs.
Yeah, some B7C smart bulbs. If you think of like your Hue Phillips, where you hook them up to an app and they're RGB, they've got some effects modes and everything.
Yeah, really fun to use.
Yeah.
And then we had the Nikon ZFC came out. Really fun little street camera.
Yeah,
I didn't get
so
in the
cool.
street because I had broken my ankle.
Yeah.
So I was in a boot. It was a bit of a nightmare time, but the camera was great.
Oh, it was a really nice day actually, I thought. Yeah, we went to like this really cute little pottery studio, which again,
I love that place.
probably not the most conventional use for the camera, but it worked really well because it is a bit more of like a family cam. We were doing a bit more of like a family camera kind of thing. Me and Amy we're really close.
Yeah, we are super close. Yeah. It's really good if you just want a camera to carry around with you all the time.
100%.
Yeah, it's a nice one for that. So we had the ZFC, and then also we had the DJI Air 2S. Now we actually had a couple of drones come out this year. We kind of skipped over it earlier in the year. We had the FPV come out. That was a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
A lot of them crashed because people weren't used to flying FPV.
Speaking of flying.
I'm like, here's its name, and along it comes.
Anyway.
Yeah, we have been trying to get it out, by the way. I don't know what I was going to do with this.
No, pop a cracker.
Yeah, scare it. But yeah, so we had the FPV earlier in the year, and it was, you know, a lot of people, I think, just went into, because it was the first FPV that's ever been offered to the public, a lot of people sort of just went into it thinking, I can fly a drone, should be able to fly the FPV.
Yeah.
That is not the case with FPV.
It's like hopping into a Formula One race car.
Yeah, if you're used to driving like a normal car. And loads of people crash them. You know, if you look online, loads of people crash them. And I don't think that was the drone's fault. I think people weren't quite prepared. But then we had later in the year the Air 2S, and that was a very easy, nice.
Very
exact
popular.
opposite. Actually.
Exact opposite. Yeah,
People
very
loved
popular.
that, yeah.
Really popular with a lot of the landscape photographers. that we sort of follow, and
Right,
you know, because I think a lot of them, one, it gave them a different angle, but two, it wasn't a huge drone, and three, because of the weight, if you did the A2 CFC course that you can do, it made it freer to fly. It was in that weight category.
Yeah,
we do actually have currently the Mavic 3 that's just come out. We just haven't been able to do anything with it at the moment because of the weather. There's literally not been a chance. I actually took it to Scotland on my own private holiday last week, hoping I could get something, but the weather was just so bad. We had a huge storm, so it's just not doable at the minute. But as soon as we have a day where we can film, we'll show you what it can do.
Then it'll be playtime.
Yeah, maybe like August or something.
Yeah, next year. Keep an eye on 2023. But yeah, that drone, that's quite impressive because we've got that telephoto lens on there, and then the bigger sensor, really beautiful camera. So it's one of those drones again that sort of opens it up to more uses. You know, there's some professional uses in there, not just photography and videography in the sort of aesthetic sense, but also I'm sure there's, you know, people like farmers, people who have to check sea defences, you know, mountain rescue. There's if you've got a 28 times zoom lens,
it's cool, yeah.
You know, it's great to be able to check things like that.
It's not just for pretty pictures. Like there's actual genuine practical uses
for
people,
absolutely.
which is really, really awesome that they're putting that in a drone that also can be used for pretty pictures. So if you're somebody that sort of, it meets both needs really, really well.
It does, yeah. And then more Sony.
So yeah, the Sony ZV-E10, which was basically a compact camera, has a little bit of photo in there, but mainly for the vloggers of the world out there who want a nice, compact, easy to use vlogging camera. It also has like it has a mode in it where you can plug it in via USB and then it becomes like a webcam as well.
Yeah.
So you've got that amazing autofocus. It's E-mount as well. It's a crop sensor, APS-C, but that's nothing to moan about. I think at that size, like APS-C with all those features in there, it's just a really good camera for that kind of thing.
And it was a big step up from the ZV-1, which was the little compact, which actually was actually super impressive with how that worked. It was a nice step up from that.
It's literally ready to use. As soon as you've got like your lens on there, it's just like a brilliant camera to use for vlogging. Getting on like a selfie stick or filming other things. If you want to shoot a little bit more cinematically, you've got access to all those E-mount lenses as well. So a really, really good camera.
Next up, I got my hands on the Sigma 150-600.
Oh yeah,
that was a
cool.
fun day.
How muddy was it that day?
Man,
it was so ridiculous.
We were not prepared.
It was so I was wearing shorts that day, and it was such a stupid idea.
And trainers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was muddy. But it was a great lens. Really good lens, really fun for wildlife. Got some really nice shots with it. It was definitely one of those lenses that it would be a good one to have in the kit bag. You know, when we're out doing other filming, and we can just pop that one on. It was a nice lens to use. I really enjoyed reviewing that actually. Then things started sort of speeding up even more. You know, as we started to move towards the end of the year, we had the XF605, which is like the classic
camcorder style camera. So all in one, pick up and go kind of thing. What you typically see like news gatherers or events shooters using if you just needed a workhorse, get the job done style camera with just all the bells and whistles that you need to get that job completed.
I actually really enjoyed reviewing that because I don't often get to use that stuff.
Same, yeah.
And for me, I love to have one of those I just kind of walked about with. I think it'd be so fun.
I mean, that's the whole thing about it. It looks good, it looks the part, and it has all the features you need to get the job done well.
So we had the XF605, and then we had the Canon EOS R3.
Big release.
Which was a big release for us, huge, and was really fun.
That was an interesting one as well, to go into the racetracks.
Yeah, it was great.
Seeing how it, with the vehicle tracking, that had just been introduced into it, like what a great feature to have. And
to have the viewfinder where it tracked where your eye was looking.
So cool.
I mean, you had to calibrate it properly to get it to work. But I mean, even before I calibrated it, was still pretty good. And then once you've calibrated it, it's amazing.
Yeah, some really good images come out of it.
It's a really cool idea for a camera and a viewfinder to have that.
Yeah.
I want that back because that, for me, I mean, if you've watched this channel for more than 3 minutes before, you know the R5 has always been my personal favourite camera of all time. Not my favourite in terms of like depend on different things that you're doing, but for me at home, the R5 is like my baby. So the R3 for me, it was a challenge because it was a camera that does more really.
Yeah.
But you do have that lower megapixel count because we're looking more like a 1DX here. You know, we're sort of focusing on wildlife, focusing on sport, press. But the R3's autofocus and stuff, it was mind-blowing. It was really strong.
Yeah.
And then we had the Sony 70-200 G Master come out.
Oh yeah.
Which doesn't, I know it's only another lens, but that was a stunningly sharp, high performance lens that it was an enjoyable shoot because of how good it was.
100%. I mean, the first one is an incredible lens.
Yeah.
I think like the first one is still something that
it's
is
staple for a lot of people,
regular in a lot of kit bags. Still 100% worth buying. But then it's really nice that they then went and updated it for us because they made it a lot more compact and a lot lighter. Because that was would be my main criticism actually of the first iteration of the 70-200. It's really heavy.
Yeah.
It's really heavy.
Yeah.
It can be hard to use as a result of that. So it's really nice that was one of the things. You know, obviously they improved the autofocus, the sharpness, they improved pretty much everything about the lens. But just taking that size down, but still offering that incredible quality.
And shooting you skating that day, it was very nice for that kind of use. Really loved that lens. And then we had the Sony A7 IV, so another huge camera that we've all been waiting on for a long time. Hugely popular, hugely waited on.
Yeah.
And we had quite a cool shoot with it.
Oh, it was really fun shooting with it. I really enjoyed using it. You know, it was nice. It was a fun couple of days.
Yeah.
We got all over the place. We did a lot with that
We
camera
did,
in a
and
short period of time.
I'm glad we did, because if we'd just done the first day, which is what we were expecting to shoot, which was we were in London, and we decided to stay out late because it had been moody and grey and very foggy.
It was such a rubbish day, wasn't it?
It was such a rubbish day, and it's one of those days that no matter what camera you use, one, the images are a bit boring, but two, it all looks good because it's just grey and a camera can't really mess it up.
Yeah.
Whereas it was great going out in the night, you know, testing the ISO performance.
Yeah, which again, Sony, perfect to do that with.
Exactly, getting some dynamic range through, and then the next morning we were lucky as well to get some really nice waves at the seafront.
Yeah, went down to the beach, that was really nice. And then again, you know, video, just as good as photo with that camera as well.
Yeah.
I'd actually say that that is a true hybrid camera. You know what I mean? Like it fits itself perfectly in between the two. It's brilliant at both. Having those extra megapixels is awesome for printing and just being able to crop in a bit more for photographers. But then having the updated video specs and having some of those more 4K, like higher frame rates and stuff like that, and better bit rates, 10-bit. Really nice. I mean, the A7 III, it's a bit outdated now, but when it came out, it was incredible. Yeah. And they've just gone and done exactly the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's on that same vibe as X-T4, Canon R6, Nikon Z6 II, those nice hybrids where you know you can put them in the bag and you'll be able to, whatever comes up, you've got it, you can shoot it. Yeah. You've got something to cover it.
That's a very good parallel, yeah.
I'm gonna skip something I've got written down here because I want to talk about it last. Your Titan BASE, you love that thing, didn't you?
Yeah, by Anton Bauer. Yeah, portable power hub, battery pack. Yeah, it's really good. I'm using one right now.
Literally just over there.
This camera there. Yeah, I'm using it for that one. It's just like if you've got a mirrorless camera and you'd expect that their own batteries to last maybe 40 minutes, per run. Like your Titan BASE will last you hours. I actually use it as just my battery for every shoot now.
I mean, that shows a product, I think, just like with the wireless go-tos when I use them all the time. Yeah. We've got the nan lights, we've got the Aputures. You know, the Titan BASE is one of those things again.
Oh, I love it. Have some, go on.
Get off my pies.
But the Titan BASE, again, is one of those things that we have just brought into our workflow.
That's true. That's a real testament to the product. It really is.
Now, we also had the Tamron 18-300 come out, which was nice.
Yes.
That's another little nice zoom lens.
I love versatility.
Yeah, what an incredible range.
You know, as much as some people probably want something a little bit more specific for certain styles of shooting, an 18-300 just gives you so much range that you, if you are like a hobbyist or a professional who just needs something very versatile, and you can basically just go out and get whatever you want.
Yep, exactly. And it was a lens, I think, at the time when I was reviewing it with you, I said we can go and shoot anything. It doesn't matter. We can shoot whatever we want because it is a more documentary lens. Realistically, you know, if you're looking for just aesthetics, then yes, unless you shoot up at the 300mm end, you're not going to get the look. But
exactly. Yeah.
If you want a lens where you're going on a trip and you want to photograph everything, then it's a great lens for that. And it was sharp and nice to use and everything else. So yeah, really happy with that lens. Now, the thing I really want to get to and talk about is the Nikon Z9.
Wow, what a camera.
What a camera.
Yeah.
An annoyingly good camera.
Yeah,
that was such a shock, wasn't it?
Such a shock how good that was.
I'd never come across a Nikon camera with a video spec that I was like racing to try.
Yeah.
And then when I actually got around to trying it, that I was like, I could actually just use this every day and be very satisfied.
It didn't seem to matter what we were shooting with it. Everything just looked brilliant. I mean, we were so lucky with the light that day. Yeah, and the continuous frame rate as well, actually, because I was shooting...
yeah, 120 FPS.
Yeah, if you wanted that.
That's
mad.
That's ridiculous.
A lot of the time I was shooting 20 frames per second, full
Yeah,
raw.
you got to be efficient, yeah.
Yeah, but it was things like the focusing through that was so consistent.
Yeah,
I did not
solid
miss focus. Can't wait to do more with it. I mean, I've been pushing Nikon. Don't think it's us. I've been pushing Nikon to get that back. So we will have that back, and we will do a big thing with that, because that was beautiful to use. And at that same time, I just want to mention, they did also release the 100 to 400
for
Z
loved
mount
that as well.
And I loved that. With that Z9, it was beautiful to use. And it was a sharp lens, very quick, very nice.
Yeah, I'd like to see more stuff like that from Nikon. More lenses maybe.
Yeah,
well.
some more lenses, because their lenses, everything they bring out is just...
Yeah, exactly. So more of that, please.
Give us more to review, because then we can keep asking you for the Z9.
Yes, please, Nikon.
Yeah. Next up, we wanted to talk to you about some of our favourites from the year. Now, not necessarily cameras or whatever, but this is more just the things that we've really sort of started using consistently, or that were just our favourite to use. So, George, I'm going to start with you, because you happen to be that side of me.
Cool.
So.
My favourite product of the year definitely has to be the wireless Go-Tos.
It's not a surprise.
No, I think they're incredible. I'm not going to spend ages talking about them, because I already told you why I like them so much when we just covered them. But for me, so versatile. I've always been looking for. It's kind of was the product I've always been looking for. Basically, in a mic kit, it was everything I always wanted one to be. And actually, there's actually a new firmware update with these wireless Go-Tos.
Right.
I don't think I've even told you guys about it yet. You might be aware, but I'm not sure. They've actually recently updated their firmure on the wireless Go-Tos, and they can now record internally.
What?
I know.
With what memory?
So you use like some app which you can definitely get on a computer and a Mac. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get it on your phone as well, but don't 100% quote me on that. You use an app to basically tell it to record, but you don't plug it in. It's not tethered to anything. I don't know. They must have been thinking about this for a while, and kitted it out with some internal memory, because basically they have internal memory that can then record up to 40 hours.
That must be compressed though, the 40 hours.
Yeah. So the 40 hours is compressed audio.
Right.
But you can have up to 7 hours of fully uncompressed audio, which is insane. It's so cool that that's in there. And actually, once you sort of hit that recording limit, so let's say we're recording 7 hours of uncompressed audio, once you go over that 7 hour period, it basically just re-records over your old stuff. So it's quite smart the way it's been done. But haven't personally tested that out, because it's literally so new, such new firmware. But really, really cool addition to a product that, to be honest, didn't need it, because it was already that good.
Yeah,
so
I mean, let's do a little video on that. That'd be really fun.
I'd love
check
to play
that
with
out.
it. I'd love to play with it. I'll definitely be downloading that firmware really, really soon.
Yeah, definitely.
I've only very recently heard about it.
For me, personally, I mean, there's a few things that I've sort of, wireless Go-Tos and stuff have been amazing. I found myself earlier in the year using the Sennheiser IE Pro 100 headphones, the in-ears, which I loved. And I now use those all the time as just like my standard headphones. But also I tried out, this is kind of not, I'm not allowed to say this though, because I tried out the Wacom MobileStudio Pro this year. But obviously it didn't come out this year.
It came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but I have to say, I tried it out for the first time this year, and I use that so much. That's one of my favourites. That's
cool.
So fun for a creative outlet, which for me, that's a really, really high up on the list. So one of those two, I think, for me.
Okay, yeah, cool.
What about you?
Probably the Titan BASE. We've already gone over it, but I just see so many. It's like one of those batteries where you could just take it from camera to camera with you, and it's always going to be relevant until the day that it eventually dies of natural causes. All you need to do is just get a different cable for it. You can link it to all kinds of different cameras, also your accessories, and because it's got the quick release plate as well, you can just literally take your camera off of that one, put it on the next one, plug it in.
So handy.
Good to go. So Titan BASE, I think, accessory-wise, is probably my favourite of the year.
Now it's time to talk about our favourite cameras and lenses of the year, basically. Our best, the best, crown the best.
It's a head scratcher for sure.
It is. We were going to do stills, hybrid and video, best in each category. But we have discussed and we cannot come up with an answer. So it would be great to know what you guys think. Please comment your favourite stills, hybrid and video camera of the year, because we are struggling. And the reason for that is because a lot of the stuff that's come out has been excellent in its specific field, its purpose. So obviously stills wise, Z9, very, very strong, hugely strong, along with the R3, both arguably the best stills cameras of the year, alongside GFX
definitely.
50S.
I mean, not much else has really come to compare with those two specific models, especially with what they brought to the table. Like with R3, you've got the eye tracking and the vehicle tracking. With the Z9, you've got great autofocus, but you've also got 120 FPS stills. So you've got like two spectrums of this is fantastic and this is fantastic.
And then you have to think about res as well. So Z9, we're in that higher resolution category, the 40, 50 megapixel category, where we see the GFX 50S Mark II with a bigger sensor, so, arguably even better. And then we've got the R3 with that lower megapixel count, which makes it far better for press, news gathering, wildlife if you're shooting thousands and thousands of frames off. So it is a real difficult one. I mean, for sure, they are the best of the year. They're kind of the top three, but the order of those, very difficult, especially as when you're comparing like the R3, again, because of the res, it's a different target audience, really. And also with the Z9 and R3, they're not directly comparable. The Z9 is clearly the flagship from Nikon. We've said this before, it outdoes the specs of the D6, which was their flagship. It's a little bit cheaper than the D6, which is great. But it is clearly their flagship camera, whereas the R3 is not. The 1DX3 is still their flagship. The R3 is very good, but not actually the flagship. And at some point, I assume, we will see whatever is above that, which will be the direct equivalent to the Z9. And hopefully that'll be next year, but we don't have any idea of that.
No forecast just yet.
Yeah, give us your opinions on that, because we are.
Yeah, we'd
that
like
is
to hear.
A struggle.
If you've heard anything, also be sure to leave it in the comments, and we shall be right on it.
Yes, definitely. Now, in terms of hybrid camera, I mean, obviously all of those are hybrids as well. So, well, not really the 50S too, but the R3 and the
most
Z9.
Cameras these days,
Exactly, it's expected, right? But I mean, in terms of if you sort of go back to what you'd expect out of an A7 III, R6, I mean, obviously we'd look at the A7 IV. That'd be sort of the one you'd expect to be the hybrid of the year, really. It's also sort of a more affordable camera for most hybrid shooters.
Exactly, because I would actually say a lot of hybrid shooters probably do want slightly more affordable cameras, because you kind of want something that's all around you could go buy like a Z9 or something that has incredible video and incredible photo specs. But I'd actually say a lot of hybrid shooters do often maybe want a slightly cheaper product and want something that is just a bit more versatile, rather than being, because if you're a hybrid shooter, generally you're going to have slightly less niche knowledge, so you perhaps don't necessarily always need all of the features that come in those more expensive cameras. So therefore, in my opinion, the A7 IV is a really, really good fit for that.
There's definitely less professionals who are, let's take the Z9 as an example, because it does have such strong video specs.
Yeah, it does. 8K.
Yeah, 8K, just incredible video specs.
Yeah.
And if we take that as an example, there are less professionals out there who are capable of shooting totally professional video, like somebody who has been a videographer their whole life, and professional photography, someone who has been a photographer. It's a lot to keep up with, and also it's a lot of processing power. You think the computer's necessary for all of that. There are not many people out there who are actually capable of processing that level of video and photography. So it is more niche, and the A7 IV certainly is something that's more palatable.
It caters to everyone.
It does cater for more people. So what about video then? Because that's an easy one.
I mean, you say it's easy. I mean,
well, it's an easy category.
Easier. Well, I guess specifically for video. I mean, if you're looking at a dedicated video camera, like FX3 fits that very nicely, because it's taking all that's great about the A7S III, which was already like an absolute bombshell in the market for video creators, but it just fits it into a more cine style package.
So what are your favourites? Make sure to tell us. We'd love to know, one, what you guys are using, because that's always really, really interesting, you know, what you're sort of using it for, but also your favourites from this year. It's great to get your insight on that. We've had some great moments though this year. We've had some fantastic shoots. We've had some really fun moments on those shoots.
Absolutely.
And we've also obviously been able to try some really great kit, and sometimes that leads to some really fantastic moments. So, I mean, some of my favourites have been the Z9 shoot. We just had it was just a great day. When you get nice light and you get something just come together like that, or the person flying a kite, that's really, really nice. What about you? What are some of your favourite moments from this year?
I think my favourite moment was on that beach as well. Lots of dogs, but also like testing out the autofocus, where it was tracking me, see if it would stick with my eye as I was running.
Ah, yes.
And then, you know, falling in a ditch.
Falling into a ditch.
You know, with
That
a
was my
smile on my
moment.
face, you know.
Yeah, you can
enjoy
smile
that
at.
stuff. You know, I enjoy testing cameras in silly, fun ways to see if it can lock on and stay with.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that was good. What about you?
Oh, that's a good question. I reckon probably it was cool to do the GH5 shoot actually, where we went to this
it's the Hackney Funhouse
cocktail bar. Yeah, we went to this cocktail bar and they kind of done it all up like Breaking Bad style with like really cool neon lights and just like it was kind of this dark, dingy place.
As well.
Yeah, we got dressed up, had some like weird cocktails. Some of them were not that nice. Some of them were really delicious. But yeah, it was just quite a cool shoot. It was nice, again, just to do something completely different, do something that you never would normally do, and it was very, very aesthetic, so it was perfect for exactly what we were doing.
It was really difficult for me to sign off their expenses that week.
The pizza we got was free when we went.
Fine, that's evened it out.
Yeah.
And actually, on the way to that shoot, so we did a little shoot down the park, and then we headed towards the Hackney Funhouse.
A full day of shooting.
Yeah, we did a full day, and in the Uber, we got an Uber from the park to the cocktail bar. And Shawn, and you guys probably don't know this, Shawn is deadly afraid of wasps to an incredible extent. And there was actually a wasp or maybe a bee or some kind of stripy furry thing
There's like
flying
a piece
around.
to camera that I did where I was kneeling next to like a tree stump, but there was also, I think there was like a bee nest or beehive underground, and one of them basically got under my collar of my jacket. And I remember just feeling a tickle on the back of my neck. I was like, oh, and then I felt a bee. I was like, ah! I was like, hey, George, I think there's a bee on me, man. And you were like, oh, yeah, there's a bee.
It's massive.
And I was like, oh, it'll be okay, I'll wait till we get to the other end of this journey. You're like, no, man, hey, pull over. And then we pulled over, and then I threw my jacket.
I mean, there's been multiple occasions.
Well, there's lots of bees out there.
When we were shooting the Z9, we were on a beach, man, and somehow and somehow a wasp found you. And there's actually a bit where I'm talking to camera, and then it just ended because I just saw Shawn just sort of dive on you.
They're buzzy. You know when they're coming. It's alarm bells go off. They got a stinger. Once they're on you, I don't know. Yeah, probably nothing. But I mean, yeah. I've been stung like twice.
But it has been like multiple times this year for some reason. They just do seem to like you, or they sense your fear.
Well, I recently bought an orange jacket and they all seem to like that.
Well, see, that's the problem. You look like a flower. 2022 is now nearly here, and we want to sort of have a think about what we want to see next year, because apparently what we say comes true, because this year was full of lenses.
Yeah.
So what is it that we're looking for next year? I'm looking forward to GH6. We know that's on the way.
Yeah,
Panasonic
cool,
have said that's coming at some point.
Yeah.
So.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I don't know specifically in terms of products what to expect. Maybe some more expansion on the streaming, because I don't think people are quite done producing more streaming tech.
Agreed.
Because like you've got the new, to go with the Atomos line, like the Ninja 5, you've also got the X-Caster that you can plug your Atomos into and use that as like a vision mixer now as well. So there's definitely like more kind of like accessorizing going on with streaming. Like GH5 II included more streaming. So I think we're going to see more cameras with integrated streaming, potentially more streaming style applications, utilities, technologies, all that kind of thing.
And also, I hope we see memory prices come down, because a lot of the sort of CF Express cards and things like that.
Insane.
It's a direct reason why not to go with those cameras right now if you can't afford those cards.
Yeah, there are some professional photographers out there who are literally turning down cameras that are perfect for them because the cards are too much money for them.
Expensive.
Yeah, it's all like, once you've got those cards, great. And some of these cameras do take SDXC cards still as well.
Yeah,
so there's a little bit of a bridge that's there, which is great. But yeah, I think if those memory card prices do come down, then that'll make it a lot more accessible.
I don't know about you two. I mean, I'm really looking forward to next year. Obviously, we've seen massive expansion at Wex over the past 2 years in terms of the type of things we sell.
Right.
And I'm really looking forward to next year, you know, getting my hands on more gadgets again, because we've done that this year. You know, we've managed to get our hands on more bits and bobs, you know, to bring into our process of taking photos, and, you know, new tripods that are great, or, you know, gimbals or whatever it is. There's so many things that we've been sort of adding to our range, but I can't wait to do more of that next year. But also revisit some of those cameras that we've only had a short look at this year. You know, we haven't had a huge amount of time with the R3, the Z9, the GFX 50S2, you know, all of these cameras, we haven't had a huge, and the Sony A1, actually, even right at the start of the year, we haven't had a huge amount of time with that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping next year we'll be able to sort of dive on some of those, maybe with some new lenses as well, you know, and really sort of push those a bit further, you know. I've actually really enjoyed doing more challenge videos as well, so I'd like to bring that back as a more regular next year. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Let us know if you have, because we've been doing sort of more of these, you know, team challenges. It's been a bit of a laugh, I think, to do that.
No, it has. It's been fun, and it's been a fun way to kind of, you know, be a little bit more, you know, experimental, I guess.
Yeah. Tons more challenges and technique bits, as well as loads of reviews, will be coming your way in 2022. We can't wait to get stuck in with just loads more kit, getting out there and taking images and video. If there's something specific you guys want to see, please pop it in the comments, because it's great to hear what you guys are after. And we'll try our best to get back to you if you've got any questions as well. Thank you for joining us for our year in review. A massive happy new year from all three of us and the whole of Wex Photo Video, and we will see you again in 2022.